Hello everyone, welcome to TCOM 101, Dr. Mike here. In this video I want to continue to talk about the telecommunications technology megatrends. Understanding those megatrends will help us understand other concepts like old media versus new media. So I want to make a distinction between old and new in this video and then talk about some new directions for TCOM technology. All right, old media, or legacy media as it's often called, are the old-fashioned 20th century mass media institutions that predominated prior to the information age. The information age really started in the 80s and the 1990s, the tail end of the 20th century. So examples of old media or analog media or legacy media include traditional newspapers, magazines, film, recorded music, books, and terrestrial radio and TV broadcasts. And so this was the dominant form, old media, during most of the 20th century in America. Right? Old analog traditional media. Now, the old media have been replaced largely by newer forms of media that are based on digital technologies, the language of computers. And they also rely on computers not only to create the messages, but also distribute the messages. So examples would be streaming media, interactive websites, ebooks, computer games, the world of mobile apps, augmented reality, and virtual reality. So, the new media world is quite different from the old media world in terms of the devices we use and how we share the information. Okay, and now it's a highly personalized world. Okay, so now that you understand some of the technology megatrends, the characteristics of technology, we can compare old media versus new media. Old media were analog. New media are digital. Old media had a lot of divergence, separation. The world of new media is a world of convergence. In the old media world, we were detached. We weren't connected all the time, but we certainly are in the new media world. We have powerful forms of connectivity. The old media world was all narrowband, okay? But in the digital new media world, we have lots of broadband. The messages in the old media world were unabridged. We got the whole thing, but most of the messages we get in the new media world are highly compressed. The old media world was very passive in terms of the users, but in the new media world, we tend to be more interactive and engaging as consumers of media. Also, consider other characteristics. The old media world, everything was separate. Newspapers, magazines, television, the movies, radio. But in the new media world, we have the internet and the smartphones that can bring it all together for us in a multimedia environment. In the old world, we had true mass communication, sending the same message to a mass audience at the same time. But in today's world, the messages are highly personalized and individualized. In the old media world, the devices, the technologies, they were huge. In the new media world, they've shrunken. They're very miniaturized. In the old media world, we had low-resolution images. But in the wonderful new media world, we have super high-resolution images. In the old world, everything was fixed. We were actually tethered by a cable. There was no mobility, but in the new media world, everybody has mobility and portability and can move around and can do what's called space shifting. Take the device anywhere. So those are very important changes between the old media world and the new media world. Now, let me continue in this video by talking about three important, very important new directions or new trends in terms of TCOM technologies. Three important emerging technologies. First, let me talk about something called augmented reality. This is exciting new technology, emerging technology that can be delivered to us through glasses or a screen, like a video screen or a cell phone screen. Augmented reality is technology that blends or mixes or layers reality. It superimposes a computer-generated image on our view of the real world. So it's kind of a composite or a mixed reality. A great example of an incredible product on the marketplace today is Microsoft's HoloLens augmented reality or mixed reality headset. And if you put on this headset, you can see incredible digital images displayed in the real world. And these are three-dimensional images, very powerful technology. Another new direction that technology is heading is the development of something called virtual reality. You've seen and probably experienced these virtual reality headsets. VR is this artificial environment that's created using software, and it's presented to us in a very realistic way, in a 360-degree immersed environment, so it's easy for us to suspend our disbelief and accept it as a real environment. Okay? The Oculus device, the Rift, and then now the Oculus Go are both virtual reality headsets manufactured by Oculus VR, which is a division of Facebook. All right, a third important direction is the rise of artificial intelligence. Okay, this refers to high-powered computer systems that are starting to be able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, complex tasks, facial recognition, speech recognition, decision making, translation between languages. Very, very complex skills being carried out now by machines and artificial intelligence. Now, a lot of people fear artificial intelligence. Believe me, most of it is kind of benign and it's not going to lead to evil robots. But some people do fear the rise of the robots and the coming robot apocalypse. Even some of the smartest people in the world have raised concerns about our future and artificial intelligence. Remember Stephen Hawking, the great physicist? He believed AI could doom the human race, and he's not alone. Elon Musk predicts World War III. He says competition for AI superiority at national level will be the most likely cause of World War III. And a lot of people are very concerned that AI will become militarized. Now, we'll talk more about all of these critical issues later, but another concern, really probably a more realistic concern than World War III right away, is the loss of jobs and robotics, and robots replacing not only workers but human companions. But this is a very significant concern. Automation, robotics, and the loss of jobs. All right, now we see and we're using AI right now in our everyday lives. No, most of it is not going to take the form of some humanoid robot. Most of it will be embedded in the devices that we're using, like the AI digital assistant, Siri, Alexa. Okay, these are very, very powerful speech recognition technologies that deliver answers and information to us almost instantaneously. So a digital assistant, also called a virtual assistant, it's an application program that can understand our natural language and then complete some quick task, find some information for the end user. Now, a good example of AI within the last decade was the IBM computer Watson, which actually appeared on Jeopardy! It's an IBM supercomputer that uses AI and can think like a human. It went on Jeopardy! And it beat all of the best Jeopardy! Contestants. But the real value of Watson is not just playing trivia games. It's changing the world of finance and insurance and medicine. okay, because of its incredible capabilities. Now, will the AI computers and the robots ever have a consciousness, an awareness, maybe a set of values and morals? Maybe they will someday. We're not there yet, okay? There are different stages of artificial intelligence. Right now, we're still teaching the machines to learn the task that we want to accomplish. But maybe someday the machines will have some mind of their own, a consciousness, and then we should be very concerned about the autonomy of technology, okay? Its ability to act beyond our ability to control it. All right, did you know right now AI is being used to create all kinds of media content, some interesting music, news stories are being written by computers, movie scripts, video games, paintings, and something called deep fakes. But AI is already having a significant presence in the media world. Deep fakes. A deep fake, that the term, it's a portmanteau, a combination of deep learning from artificial intelligence and fake or bogus. So it's a way of making a fake video. You can add an image or video over another image or video so that it appears to be the same thing, all the original. And these have become very sophisticated and they can trick people. They're extra deceptive. Now, I personally don't care if they're used for comedy and parody and lighthearted stuff, as long as that's all very transparent. But it's when it's used to fool people on significant issues or to embarrass people or to cause some kind of political turmoil, then perhaps we should be alarmed. Deepfakes have forced a response from both the industry and the government. How do they detect and then limit their use? Well, I think the only way now we can detect a deepfake is using artificial intelligence. And I think we can catch some of them, but there's still a lot of questions out there about when we should allow them to be used. All right, let me shift the subject a little bit in this video and talk about the digital revolution a little bit and how it's really impacted the media industries. And it has in so many ways. Okay, but the point I want to make here is that the digital technology has changed every part of the process in TCOM, from production to distribution, from creating the messages to sharing them with the audience. So here's a little framework for you to understand media. You've got content creation. We have to create the messages. We have to store those messages. We have to find a way to distribute those messages to the audience, and then we have to find a way to receive and display those messages. So these are kind of the stages in the media process. So let's talk a little bit how digital media, new media have changed the process. Of course, it's changed content creation. All of the cameras, microphones, and editing equipment now are digital, okay? And many, many consumers have access to these digital tools. One of the most important changes in content creation has been the rise of video editing software, application software that lets you do the post-production video editing of all the sequences on a computer using a non-linear editing system. You can create powerful messages now using even low-cost digital post-production tools. Okay, we have to be able to store the content. In the old days, we might have used video cassette tapes and optical storage discs, but now, today, the hot thing is cloud computing and cloud storage. And this is where you use remote servers to store and process the data rather than storing it locally, okay, or on a physical device. Now, the largest cloud, this has become a huge business in the world. The largest cloud companies are listed here: Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, and Google. And Amazon is by far the largest. It controls about a third of all the cloud computing services in the United States. Okay, how about content distribution? How do we distribute all of this great content? Well, we've got all kinds of emerging technologies that allow us to do this. Things like 4G, LTE, Wi-Fi, and now the emerging 5G technology. Okay. The rise of digital technology has allowed a new form of content distribution called streaming or media streaming. And this is how we transfer the data on the internet using the internet protocol, so it can be processed as a steady, continuous stream of information that we can enjoy. And this has totally changed how film and how music is being distributed, not only here in the United States, but of course around the world. Now, the number one streaming giant is still Netflix. Despite competition from Disney Plus and other more recent streaming services, Netflix is still number one, the number one video on demand or streaming service provider with 193 million global customers. All right. Digital technology has changed how the content is received and displayed. We're no longer using all those old-fashioned tube analog televisions. We're now using high-resolution devices, 4K TV, for example. One of the coolest technologies in the world of display is something called OLED, or OLED TV. This stands for Organic Light Emitting Diode. And it's a very cool emerging display technology. OLED TVs have great characteristics. They can be super thin and light. You can have curved, flexible technology and screens. Okay, you get super nice colors, bright pictures. Okay, and they operate very efficiently. So this, although it's still expensive, this is, to me, the state of the art in terms of display and reception. Okay, that's all for this video. I hope you got a little bit out of it. And please take care of yourself and each other. Until I see you again, take care. Bye-bye.